On Chum FM.
The psychology of color. And we welcome to the room designer Jane Lockhart.
Thank you.
Just before we start, Jane, I want to say that maybe last week or the week before we were talking about different colors and what they do to people's psyches, and one of them was the color red.
Yes.
When men see the color red in ads, they're more drawn to it. And I think of red tag days at your nearest car dealership. You know, the color red draws the man in particular in and enhances sales.
It does. So if you use that theory and you follow along, women should wear red lipstick because it draws the men in. So it's actually very good. So there is something to that about wearing certain colors or putting certain colors in your home really does create an atmosphere that draws people in or pushes them away.
It kind of just, like you say, like mental and physical kind of aspects to all of this.
And because it's so around us all the time, we don't really think about how much of an effect it actually has on us because it's so regular. But it really does. Sales do best when they use the color red or yellow-based reds. Yellow is really the color of discount in our society.
Does red work for women as well? When we did that bit, it seemed that it was primarily for men. Yeah, for purchasing.
Yeah.
Yes, as long as you pick, studies have shown that men prefer yellow-based reds, so more the orangey reds, whereas women prefer the blue-based reds. So you're better if you're buying for a man to remember which version of red that you're looking for. Or if you're a man buying for a woman, you might want to buy something that's not as fire engine-y red. It's a slightly pinker red tends to do better for women.
Yeah, you're going to carry on with this because you say if you're dieting, add blue to walls and accessories.
Yes, okay. So who isn't dieting at some point?
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, so blue is a color that tends to reduce appetite. Not forever, obviously, but for a split second or a few moments, it can reduce your desire to eat. And they say if you want to eat more fruit and vegetables, they did a study using a cafeteria and kids that when they put all the fruit in white bowls or those big metal bowls, they were less likely to be eaten than when they were in colorful bowls. So when they put the fruit in orange and pink bowls, kids were more likely to respond to it.
So that would apply to the colors of restaurants and food courts and things like that?
Absolutely. So it's an important way of how you display, not just on white plates, but in colored plates if you really want to draw people in, or vice versa, plate on blue or pale blue if you don't want to eat as much.
Okay, how about if you need energy?
Okay, orange is the energy color. So that's a color, and of course it's very popular right now in fashion. We're seeing it everywhere. So just a hit of orange is a great way to add to your living room, your space, no matter whatever the color is. It can be in flowers. It doesn't have to be in decor items, but even pillows, which I know all men love. Great, more pillows. But if you add in a nice orange, I know you love them.
I love pillows.
I know, I knew that. I could tell. I could see by the look in your eyes.
Pillows on that bed.
I think
Please, more pillows.
Two is sufficient.
Two is sufficient.
Wow.
And
one orange one.
One for me and another one for me. That's it, two.
What about if you want to win a hockey game?
Okay, this is very interesting. This was actually done by Harvard, which just goes to show that color really does play a huge role in even sports. That what they found was teams that wore black jerseys tended to get 2 minutes more penalties than teams that wore any other colors. Jeez. So, and you know, some of the theories are because refs thought that the team that wore the black jerseys were more aggressive because that's how we see black as a color because it's heavy and dominating, but also because it stands out against the white ice. So they were easier to call than people who wore white jerseys or lighter colors because it didn't stand out as much.
Are all of these things cause and effect, or are there other factors?
That's probably a really good question, and that's, of course, what always comes on is some of it is born into us. We're naturally learned some other things as well. So a lot of it's culture. Color is very culturally dominated. So Western culture has certain color taboos, like you get married generally in a white dress, but that's not true in Eastern culture. It tends to be a red dress or other colors. But there are certain things that we do believe are born right into us that you cannot change.
Jane, I remember in school as a kid, the rooms were either bland gray or dirty yellow, and we call those at the time institution colors. It was
Very
supposed
true.
to calm us. Is
Like
that?
a funny green, too.
Oh, they were
Yeah.
awful colors, but it was supposed to calm us little devils.
I see how well that worked.
Hellions. What?
Yeah.
If I wasn't sleeping, that was trouble.
Very Very astute.
No, that's not true. No, and the idea was, again, with research, that certain colors would relax you. In fact, if you have a home office, one of the things you want to do is add an accent wall that you can see that strong color against all the others. And it's not so much the color, it's the contrast of color. Looking at that corner where the two colors meet is very good for your eyes because it readjusts their focus. So that idea was not used in the 50s and 60s. The idea was to calm things down. And of course, that's where you ended up with that hospital green where it had no
funny,
color.
Soft celery green.
That's right.
I didn't like that at all.
No, that was to prevent something called after image. So it would relax surgeons' eyes when they were looking at red all the time in terms of surgery. So then it got taken a little too far, and then it was
it's kind of
everywhere.
depressing, isn't it? It's depressing, and then every once in a while you'll come across a nice bright wall in a hospital or some artwork or something, and it changes your mood instantly.
Especially in the waiting room. That's when that's welcoming. Just one last thing is, if you want, you've got all this stuff that you've purchased for your home, but you have the opportunity of changing the walls, and you want to make your house a home. I mean, you don't want to purchase anything more except maybe a can of paint. What's the best route to take on that one?
The best route would be a color that has, in Canada anyway, a warm neutral, just because of our climate. We find that we obviously have more cold than we do warm. So most people tend to respond to warmer gray tones, warmer taupe tones, deeper browns, because they have a natural quality to them, but they also allow then us to add brighter colors in front. And that's for most people, they want neutral backgrounds, strong foregrounds, so that they can change it
So that way you can
regularly.
do accessories with your orange pillows again.
Yes.
When you give us a paint, can you give us on the top of your head like a paint color that would be a great gray wall color for your home?
A great color would be Benjamin Moore's Metropolis.
Okay.
Lovely color, very warm. It's not like the grays of the 80s, so you don't have to worry about it looking too blue or bad pink carpeting with it. That's not going to happen unless you have that. It's fine. Don't worry. No problem. This is a deeper gray that has a lot of brown to it, so it's
more
very
of a commitment.
Rich. Very nice color.
All right.
These two facts surprise me. There are over 2 million shades and tones. 2 million?
2 million. Okay, maybe not for everyone in the room. Some of us might not see all
that's
those
true too,
colors.
But
It's interesting. Men actually, 11% of men are colorblind. Less than 1% of women.
Well, my wife and I see colors differently.
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're also the only mammal besides a lemur monkey that can see this many colors.
That's right. So that's a little monkey from Africa that has a zebra-colored tail.
Yeah.
That was in whatever the movie was. Anyway, they also have the same eye structure as humans, and that's what allows them to see color so well.
Okay.
Great, Jane. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Good
I wear red
information.
lipstick. In fact, I just bought some red lipstick.
Yes,
Here I
red
go.
outfit, red lipstick. It's the way to go.
Do you have a
Okay.
website you want to mention?
Yeah, just janelockhart.com.
All right. Jane Lockhart, designer, thanks for coming in. We'll
Thank
see you again.
you.